AjaWilson has definitely been in the headlines these last couple weeks, man, in regards to CaitlinClark news.
CaitlinClark didn't even let the paint dry on the WNBA season before cashing her next check. While half the league is arguing over the collective bargaining agreement, Clark's already landed her first offseason job, and it's sending shockwaves through front offices and locker rooms alike. She's not chasing points or assists this time. She's chasing legacy, leverage, and yes, serious money. And nobody is feeling the heat more than AjaWilson, who can't help but watch the headlines shift from her name to Caitlin's again.
And it looked like CaitlinClark has landed her first speaking gig of the offseason. AjaWilson found herself in a situation involving CaitlinClark again.
Let's be honest. This move isn't just another business deal. It's a power play, and the league can feel it. While the WNBA spent the offseason tangled in pay debates, union fights, and Kathy Engelbert's vanishing act, Caitlin's out there signing contracts that make the commissioner's salary look like loose change. And these aren't product endorsements or commercial spots. They're corporate speaking gigs where Clark gets paid six figures to do what she does best, command attention.
Last offseason was CaitlinClark $100,000 an hour speaking gigs. Well, I'm here to tell you she is not taking long getting back to work, raking in the cash because she has landed.
We're talking Fortune 500 stages here, not pep rallies. According to reports, CaitlinClark is now booking $100,000 per appearance just to speak. That's right. She's literally getting paid superstar money to talk about being CaitlinClark. It sounds surreal, but this is the same woman who made Iowa basketball a national obsession and turned the WNBA into must-see TV. The second the season ended, she didn't take a break. She took over. Why do you think companies are booking Caitlin and not Aja? Let us know down in the comments below.
She's landing $100K to speak to speak for companies and represent companies all over the country. She's not hurting for cash, and I just think this is just the coolest thing ever.
Her latest gig, a featured speaking role at the Long Island Association's Fall Conference, a major East Coast business summit known for its high-rolling audience and corporate sponsors. Clark will sit down with their president, Matt Cohen, to talk about her record-breaking young career, her leadership philosophy, and how she's redefining women's sports. It's not a charity event. It's a paid corporate engagement at one of the most exclusive country clubs in New York. The kind of place where executives close seven-figure deals before lunch.
Look like CaitlinClark is headed to Long Island Association, bro. So we're stating Long Island Association joined the Long Island Association's president and CEO, Matt Cohen, moderates a special conversation with CaitlinClark discussing her record-breaking performances, impact, and cultural influence on October the 29th at 10:30 to 12:30 in New York.
And here's where it gets awkward for the WNBA. Caitlin will make almost as much in 1 hour behind a microphone as most of her peers make in an entire season on the court. The average WNBA player's salary sits around $120,000. Caitlin can earn that in a morning in air conditioning with a bottle of Fiji water on the table, instead of getting elbowed in the ribs by defenders or ignored by refs. Meanwhile, Kathy Engelbert's still holding meetings about travel upgrades, while her biggest star just built a second career overnight.
AjaWilson is currently back in the headlines after news surfaced. She's charging $100,000 for speaking events. She's talking about, she's charging $100K for speaking events, and fans is like, Shrek? Since when? And you only doing this because of Caitlin.
This is what drives the jealousy from players like AjaWilson. She spent years trying to be the face of the league, but Clark did it in one season, and now she's out earning her off the court, too. Wilson can talk about building culture all she wants, but it's Caitlin who's building wealth and influence faster than anyone expected. The WNBA's hierarchy just flipped, and Aja's not taking it well.
AjaWilson is the queen of the delusion. She's absolutely the queen of the delusion.
Because here's the brutal truth. When one player's brand grows bigger than the league, power shifts. Corporate sponsors start asking if they even need the WNBA logo when CaitlinClark's name alone fills seats. Media networks stop calling the league office. They call her agent. And for veterans who thought they had the spotlight secured, it's a wake-up call. This speaking gig isn't a side hustle. It's a statement. It says CaitlinClark doesn't have to wait for the WNBA to catch up. She's building her own empire, one microphone at a time. High-profile speakers at her level, names like Serena Williams, Peyton Manning, or Tom Brady, command $150,000 to $250,000 per appearance. And Caitlin's already in that league. She's doing TED Talks with Jumper, business panels with Crossover, and getting paid top-tier money for it. Meanwhile, AjaWilson scrolling through social media, watching a reaction unfold. And it's not about her MVP stats or her shoe deal. It's all about CaitlinClark's next move. You can almost feel the envy through the screen. While Aja's firing off vague posts about respect and what's deserved, Clark's too busy preparing her keynote speech. It's a different level entirely.
It's crazy because literally nobody asked, and sources close to AjaWilson decided to answer anyway.
But this story is bigger than just paychecks and panels. It's about control. While Caitlin's out there expanding her platform, the WNBA is stuck dealing with internal chaos. Players are publicly clashing with the commissioner. The union's threatening a lockout, and league attendance outside Indiana is flatlining. The league desperately needs a positive headline, and once again, Caitlin handed them one. The problem, it's her headline, not theirs. That's what the league hates most. They can't claim credit for this. Caitlin didn't wait for PR approval or a partnership deal. She made her own lane. She's proving she doesn't need the WNBA's infrastructure to stay relevant. She is the infrastructure. The machine runs on her name now. It's almost poetic. While players like AjaWilson complain about being underpaid, Caitlin's out here writing her own checks. She's showing the rest of the league that real power doesn't come from arguing with the front office. It comes from outgrowing it. Every time she cashes a speaking fee, she reminds them that fame, discipline, and intelligence can build what bureaucracy can't.
Throughout the year, WNBA players were demanding to be given credit for elevating the league. Angel Reese claimed that she, along with their pretend friends in the mainstream media, they wanted us to believe that the WNBA was exploding in popularity. They wanted to keep all the credit for themselves while downplaying the impact of the only star in the league, Caitlin.
Corporations understand that better than the league ever will. They know CaitlinClark isn't just a basketball player. She's a brand with global reach. Her fan base spans continents. Her games trend internationally. Parents in Europe buy her jerseys for their daughters. And every time she speaks, people listen. She's become the universal face of women's sports. A mix of talent, authenticity, and charisma that money can't manufacture. That's why this Long Island event matters so much. It's not just another booking. It's a signal that the corporate world values CaitlinClark more than the league she plays and does. AjaWilson can talk about being the face of the WNBA all she wants, but the reality is simple. When companies write six-figure checks for Clark to appear at business conferences, they're voting with their wallets. And it's not even close. At the end of the day, CaitlinClark isn't just working smarter. She's playing chess while the rest of the league is still learning checkers. She's showing the next generation what independence looks like. And while AjaWilson fumes online, wondering why the spotlight keeps finding someone else, Caitlin's just smiling, signing, and stacking wins off the court the same way she does on it. Quietly, confidently, and with precision. The WNBA is officially sweating bullets, and AjaWilson is right there leading the panic. Why? Because CaitlinClark just proved once again that she doesn't need the league to win. The second the season ended, Clark turned the offseason into her own business empire. No rest, no downtime, no drama, just strategy. While half the league's players are tangled in CBA talk and social media spats, Caitlin's already out here getting paid six figures just to show up and speak. And every dollar she earns off the court reminds the WNBA how powerless they really are without her. Here's the cold, hard truth. When CaitlinClark plays, ratings skyrocket. When she sits, the audience disappears. That's not hype, it's math. She's the engine that drives the entire WNBA economy. So, imagine how the league feels now that its most valuable player is out there doing off-season event without them. No logos, no sponsorship cuts, no league promo tie-ins, just Caitlin, her mic, and her money. It's CaitlinClark's world, and the WNBA is just renting time in it. You can practically smell the panic from the front office. League-friendly media outlets are scrambling to downplay it. It's just one event, they say. Sure, until one turns into 10, because that's the pattern. Last year, Caitlin landed a few off-season gigs, and by spring, she was booked solid. This year, her first event alone is already trending, and sponsors are lining up with blank checks. Give it another year, and Caitlin's speaking circuit might out here earn her entire WNBA salary. And the kicker, she's not even breaking a sweat. While AjaWilson posts cryptic hard work pays off quotes online, Caitlin's literally proving it in real time in designer heels instead of sneakers. And the jealousy, it's palpable. You can feel Aja grinding her teeth every time a new Caitlin headline drops. She spent years branding herself as the league's standard bearer. And now this newcomer turned superstar just bypass her entirely both in fame and income. Aja's out here campaigning for media respect while Caitlin's negotiating 5-figure speaking fees before breakfast. It's a whole new hierarchy, and Clark sitting comfortably at the top. Now some fans have asked why Caitlin didn't join Unrivaled, the player-run off-season league started by Nafa Collier and Brianna Stewart. Simple answer, she doesn't need to. Unrivaled is great for players trying to make side income, but Caitlin's already surpassed that level. Why risk injury in a glorified exhibition league when you can make the same money or more giving speeches to CEOs? It's not arrogance. It's intelligence. Clark isn't playing checkers. She's building generational wealth. And that right there is what separates her from everyone else. Some people online say she should use her platform to fight for others. Bro, she is fighting, just not the way they think. She's showing the blueprint. She's proving to every woman in sports that you don't have to beg the system for value. You can create it yourself. She's teaching players that power comes from independence, not permission. And that's exactly what terrifies the WNBA. Because the minute more players realize they can make real money without the league's approval, the entire power structure collapses. That's why you can almost hear the commissioner's office shaking every time Caitlin trends. And it's not stopping here. Her Long Island Association speaking gig is just step one. This event is basically her corporate coming out party assigned to brands that CaitlinClark is open for business. Next comes the major endorsements. Another Nike campaign, maybe a Netflix documentary, maybe her own basketball academy. Every move she makes from here happens outside the WNBA's control. Meanwhile, the league's PR team is busy tweeting about unity and growth. Great buzzwords, sure, but Caitlin's not chasing buzzwords. She's chasing results. She's done waiting for the WNBA to catch up. She's building her own economy. Now, here's where it gets deliciously poetic. Caitlin's Long Island event happens October 29th, just 2 days before the WNBA CBA expiration. That means while the league's players and execs are arguing over pay, their biggest star will be on stage in New York, giving a keynote about leadership and success to millionaires. You can't write better irony than that. The headlines practically write themselves. WNBA faces lockout while CaitlinClark cashes in. The contrast couldn't be clearer. Chaos on one side, control on the other. And guess which side AjaWilson's on? The one doing the complaining. You know, she's watching this unfold thinking, how is she making more money than me? But that's the thing. Caitlin's not waiting for the league to decide her worth. She's defining it herself. Whether there's a lockout or not, she wins. If the season shuts down, she's still booked. If it continues, she returns richer, more influential, and even more untouchable. That's what real leverage looks like. The WNBA doesn't know how to deal with that kind of power. They've never had a player they couldn't control. Caitlin's polite, professional, and spotless in the media, so they can't paint her as difficult. She doesn't take cheap shots at rivals, doesn't whine about calls, doesn't fire back at critics. She just keeps winning and counting commas while the rest of the league counts followers. That's why Aja's envy hits different. She's watching a younger, calmer, smarter star do everything she tried to do better. Clark's eclipsing her without even trying. And the worst part, the public loves it. Even people who aren't basketball fans respect Caitlin's grind. They see her humility, her work ethic, her focus, and they root for her. She's not chasing drama. She's chasing excellence. That's what makes her bulletproof. The WNBA can't touch her. The media can't twist her. And jealous players can't slow her down. She's built a reputation that transcends basketball. That's what happens when your brand becomes bigger than your league. But the real nightmare scenario for the WNBA: what if CaitlinClark decides she doesn't need to come back? Imagine it. The league's ratings would nosedive overnight. Their sponsorships would dry up. Their broadcast partners would panic. And Caitlin, she wouldn't lose a cent. She's already proven she can make a fortune with or without them. That's power. The kind AjaWilson can only tweet about. And the funniest part, Caitlin doesn't even acknowledge the noise. She doesn't clap back, doesn't flex online. She just moves in silence, letting Forbes do the bragging for her. Every time she secures another deal, she widens the gap between herself and the rest of the league. It's business domination disguised as grace. This offseason, CaitlinClark turned herself into a walking masterclass on success. The WNBA's still fighting over flig, HTS salaries, and referee calls while she's out here hosting leadership panels and rewriting the rulebook for women's sports. Every move she makes becomes a headline. Every appearance trends. Even her silence drives conversation. That's how you know you've reached that level. The one AjaWilson's been chasing for years, but never quite reached. The WNBA wasn't built for someone like CaitlinClark. They wanted stars who played their role. Instead, they got a generational force who outgrew the system in a single season. She doesn't need the WNBA spotlight anymore. The spotlight follows her wherever she goes. So, when she steps into that Long Island ballroom later this month, perfectly poised, suited up and ready to speak, everyone there will understand the truth the WNBA is trying to ignore. They're not just watching an athlete. They're witnessing a phenomenon. And somewhere across the country, you can bet AjaWilson will be scrolling through her phone, reading those headlines, wondering how it feels to be the second most talked about player in her own league. Why do you think companies are booking Caitlin and not Aja? Let us know down in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next.